have a program that uses a 2D array to store the names of students and the marks they get for 5 subjects. And you can see the subject names here in the subjects list. And this is the array of students with the student name and their marks. Now, as a reminder, the lists start at index 0. So the student name here is 0 and the marks go from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 6 elements in this list in total. Now what this program does is basically you're going to be copying the code, so all you have to do is understand it. So that's what I'm going to explain now. So we have a loop called for student in students. So student, if you remember, is like a variable, a loop counter for the loop. And what that does is will run for the number of students we have in our list, which is 3. And it will pull out each student in turn. So when it runs the first time, it will get all of the student number 1 details here. Now, if I just explain this part though, because it's very important, we're creating a variable or a list for the student actual, just their name. So that's the 0 element. So when the loop runs the first time, it will take student 1 and put it here in the name bit. It runs the second time, it will take student number 2 and put them here. Okay. Now what it does as well is takes out the marks and separates them, because what we want to do is print student 1 got the marks in maths 85, English 90, in science 78, in history 92, and in geography 88. So what we have to do is separate that from the name here. So as you can see, the marks start at index 1 and run to the end of the list. That's what this bit does here. It says look here to the end. So it doesn't matter how big the list is, it will always go straight to the end here, starting at index 1. So it's already pulled out the name, and now it pulls out the marks. Now what we're going to do is print the name of the student. So it will print F student 1. So it won't print the F, it just formats it and allows us to format this output line here. Okay, rather than using some other elements which we've done in the past, we can literally pull out the name, which we've passed here, and it has the following marks. It just makes the code easier to write. Then we can have here, we have this internal loop. Now what this does is run for the length of subjects. Okay, so it runs for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, okay, because it's the length of the subjects. And we print, and look, we're using that F formatting again, we print out the subjects I and the marks I. So if you remember, we took out the marks here and put them in a new list, which started index 1 for each student and went to the end. So it will match the subject with the mark. Okay, you'll see this in a moment when I run it. And this just prints out a blank line just for neatness. Okay, so let me show you how this runs. Okay, so I'm just going to minimize this here so it doesn't fill up the whole screen. Okay, just so I can close it easier in a moment, don't worry. Okay, so I'm just going to run that, run the module, and what I get is, you can see there is the subjects out. Now, as far as I'm concerned, this isn't very neat. So, I have created some extension tests. Now, you'll see these at the bottom of the code you copy, but these are things you will have to code by yourselves. So, if you can see here, extension. Print the students neatly by tabbing subjects and calculating rounded average for each student. So this is what it should output. Then there are some further extensions. The user enters each student and the inputs are validated. No more than 25 students can be entered. So we can enter a group of 1 to 25 students. Students' names cannot be shorter than 1 character, so we can't leave it blank basically. but not longer than 25, and the name must be normalized, i.e. John Towner would become John Towner. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm not going to show you the extended code because that would be cheating, but I'm going to run the module now just to show you what I expect. So it says straight away, how many students do you want to enter? So remember, this is the extension test. This is things you have to work on by yourself. Now, if I try and leave it blank, it won't let me do it. If I try and enter something that's longer than 25 characters, it won't let me do it. So if I enter a number greater than 25, it won't let me do it. So that's the name in a moment. So if I enter 1, I'm just going to do 1 student, okay? Now I'm going to try and enter the student's name, but I'm going to make it really, really long. Won't let me do it, okay? I'm going to leave it blank. Won't let me do it. But if I enter John, for instance, like this, it will allow it. Now, if I enter the mark, I can't enter a mark bigger than 100 because it's bigger than a percentage. So the mark can't be bigger than that, and it can't be a negative number either. Okay? So, and it says enter the maths mark, so that's the first subject we've got. Okay? So let's enter a mark for maths. Let's enter 12. Okay? Let's enter 5 for English. Let's enter 99 for science. And let's enter 100 for history, and let's enter 67 for geography. Now what should happen is this information should then be output, all neat, and I've also included prefixing the numbers with 0. So 12 would become 012, 5 would become 005. Okay? So this is what I expect you to be able to do if you get this far. So John has the following marks: 012, 005, 099, 100, 067, 057 for the average. Okay, so that's the extension activity. Okay, so the basic code I have given you, and the extension is up to you to do it. Thank you.